how would you, Riley, and I'll answer the same question, but how would you, how would I, how would we set up DC for success with Phase 1? Obviously using the Marvel, what has been, kind of as a template, right?
Right.
So you've got your movies. Let's say you've got the shows are mixed in there as well. So you've got the ability to execute both. What would you do? Lay it on us.
You want me to go through the full plan or
Do
the
it.
first plan? Okay.
Go through the full. You go first.
Okay.
I'll follow you.
I did 5 movies, 3 shows. Okay?
Okay.
And this is with the premise in my head. This is after Flashpoint movie. So we've gotten our second Aquaman movie.
Okay.
We've gotten our second Shazam movie.
Okay.
So this is, they've already been there. They're established in this universe already.
Right.
So this is kind of the rebirth.
Yep.
Right. They picked
Yep.
and chose. And I'm
Yep.
kicking it off with the Superman movie. Man of Steel 2.
Love that.
Bringing Henry Cavill back. Okay. Now, I have Lex Luthor as kind of the main villain, but
Okay.
more of a background, pulling the string kind of guy. I have that for a couple of these main movies as setting up other things
Sure.
for more people in the shadows. And I actually picked Bizarro to be the main villain of the second one.
Nice.
So it's Superman dealing with his own DNA out there and then
Yep.
seeing what can happen if it lands in the wrong hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe introducing Connor Kent, because I think Superboy being around would be also kind of cool.
Gotcha. So a lot of the clone
Right.
issues, so to speak.
Clone issues, but done well, and not like Clone Saga Spider-Man. So, and yes. And would I recast Lex Luthor? The answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
Different Lex Luthor. Somebody that actually, like, you go on the screen and he's not crazy. He's a badass. I want a Lex Luthor that's
Sure.
like, he's not afraid to go over the line.
Yep. Not crazy, more he's brilliant.
Calculated.
He's choosing to be bad.
Right. He's
Yeah.
calculated in every move and situation he makes. So that is what I would like from Man of Steel 2. But definitely you have to bring Henry Cavill back. And then we discussed like having Brainiac as the third one. I think Metallo would also be kind of cool if they didn't do Bizarro. Like
Sure.
Lex outfitting this dude
Yep.
with cybernetics and
Yep.
releasing him out in the world and then being loosely connected to him and not like, and Superman's like, I know you're the one who gave him all that. And he'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. So that would be my Superman
There you go. So you're
movie.
starting out with the Superman movie.
Right. Then
Love
I'm going into Wonder Woman 3.
Okay.
And I'm going more of the magical side of things because I think DC can benefit a lot in that world.
Right.
So I had Cersei as the main Wonder Woman villain.
Okay.
I don't know a lot about her, I'll be completely honest, but I think
Yep.
she would be a really cool villain.
Yeah.
Because I know we had Cheetah and
Yep.
we had
Yep.
and we had
Ares from the first movie.
right, and then we had Maxwell Lord
Yep.
in the second one.
Yep.
And from what I understand, they were okay.
They were really solid. Like the second Wonder Woman movie is a really good movie. It is not as like the first Wonder Woman movie is fantastic. Maybe a decent comp here, Rivals, would be first Iron Man movie and then Iron Man 2. Iron
Right.
Man 2 is a good movie. It's not on the same level as the first Iron Man movie. I think there's a similar enough comparison there that's a fair piece of relativity.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, and then she's already kind of a part of the Greek
Yep.
pantheon as well, in a
Yep.
sense, correct?
Correct.
So it would be, get her to meet her dad, Zeus.
There you go.
That'd be kind of cool.
Bring Papa Zeus into the fold.
Right. That'd be dope. And then I have my first show, and it's Green Arrow and Black Canary. And a duo, and a duo, in a duo
All the O's.
show, correct? Where it's but I want like a comic accurate Green Arrow. I don't want what we got with the CW. I know that one was good in his own aspects, but it was not comic accurate, from what I understand.
Yeah, it started out really strong, and I don't mean necessarily from drawing straight from the comics. It got a little, I think, unmoored the
Right.
longer it endured. But I remember the initial season in particular, the first couple seasons were really outstanding.
Right.
Yeah,
So I do like 10 episodes, and then the main bad guy be Deathstroke.
there you go.
Because I think that would be cool. And I know a lot of people want to see him go up against Batman, but it would just be nice to have Deathstroke established in the DC universe. he can go up against Batman at any point in time.
Right.
You can save him for that. You can also have him save him for the Teen Titans because he's amazing against Nightwing.
Just
okay?
use him.
Right. So that's where I'm going.
Yep.
And then I have The Batman 2.
Ooh.
And I'm making Robert Pattinson the Batman of this universe, okay?
Well, Bob Pat is in.
He would be amazing. He would fit really well. I'm not worried about that.
Mm-hmm.
I would have Mr. Freeze be the main antagonist because I think he is the perfect middle ground between human and metahuman,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then I have the Court of the Owls in the background of this.
There you go.
Because they're manipulating Mr. Freeze for his technology to help them freeze Talon agents.
Nice.
Because I think that would be a cool
Nice.
twist.
The good old cryo sleep.
Right.
Classic comic book move.
So they
Just freeze him. He'll be fine.
So they outfit him with all his technology
Yep.
if he comes back and works for
I like
them in
that.
a
I think
sense.
that's a really strong concept.
Right. So that would be my second one. And then, don't reveal too much about the Court of Owls. I like them as like their own like
They're waiting in the background.
Correct.
Right.
And waiting to
they're
strike.
comfortable not being known.
Right.
You bet.
I think you could even work
Love
them
that.
into the first movie in a sense and just be like, oh, the Riddler knows some stuff about them. And
You don't want them to shoot their wad too early. Like, you want
Right.
them to have the ammo in the chamber. Yep.
they need to be built.
Yep.
Built and
Yep.
built and built. And then you just watch them take slow shots.
Yep. Yep.
So that's what
great.
that's what I want.
love that connection that you drew with Mr. Freeze and the Court of Owls. I think that's very tangible. Love it.
And then I have this one's more of a selfish pick, a Martian Manhunter show. After that, I looked up. No, this was the hardest part. I was looking at Martian Manhunter villains because there's not a lot.
No, he's not much of a solo guy.
But apparently, he has an evil twin brother, as one does. Okay, so
My gosh.
and his name was Malefic, whatever.
However you want to pronounce it, I won't
Right.
argue with you.
And then I was just like, just have him like lead the White Martians. I think that would be that's good. And then build up on his like background and his
Yeah.
backstory, and then just flush him out a little bit,
Yep,
and then have him lead into the Justice League. That'd be cool.
it's great.
So, and then I have the Green Lantern movie. I say mainly focus on Hal in the first one,
Okay.
and then if you want, have Hal established, and then they recruit John Stewart. But I have the Manhunters as actually the first focus. So like bring Hal in to go up against the Manhunters and to fix these people's mistakes, and then just get used to the Guardians making mistakes.
Yep.
I think that's a good thing to establish because they do that a lot. So just have Hal come in and
They're
help
not
with
the
that.
best leaders.
Right. And
Yeah.
then have Sinestro manipulating them in the background. I like a lot of manipulating in the
I
background.
can tell that. Yeah.
So it's just
You're very much a man behind the curtain kind of guy.
right, but it's nice to have like all these characters kind of like hinted at because I think a lot of DC villains are really good, and I think having them around for longer than a movie and
Yeah.
showing the depth of okay, this character Sinestro, for example, has such a rich history with the Green Lanterns. Like,
His motivations are so well built.
don't one off him.
Correct.
I don't want a one-off. Like, I
Correct.
want, like, the first movie would be showing off what he can do. Second one, you establish the Yellow Lantern Corps, and then have the third one be the full-out war.
Yep.
But that's what I had there. My last show,
I love that.
This one was kind of a weird one because, again, I was trying to find shows that worked for a phase one, essentially. So I picked Hawkman and Hawkgirl. We went for
Okay.
another couple show.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a theme there.
But
I like it.
they have
You're
a real-
drawing in the male and female demographic. That's
Right.
really well. That's
right. That's the idea. So I like the idea. Their background is really interesting to me.
Yeah.
The fact that they've lived so many lives. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a lot of storytelling opportunities
100%.
there. You could go any
Oh my
point in the
goodness.
time frame, right?
yeah. Which the comics recently have, like the Death Metal comics, or sorry, the Dark Knight's Metal comic. My goodness, it tapped into that lore of Hawkman and Hawkgirl quite a bit to that story's benefit.
Right.
So that was outstanding.
So I think that would be really cool. I had Shadow Thief as the villain. This is one that I looked up because how many people
Not
do
a lot of
Hawkman
individual-
and
right.
Hawkgirl fight,
Right.
And I'm kind of tired of Marvel, for instance, doing this is just a mirror of me. bad guy. I'm kind of tired of that. So this guy is like a thief and he manipulates channels. It's like, oh, that sounds kind of cool.
Okay.
So
okay.
let's go with it. I don't know
love
much.
it.
And then first Justice League movie drops. You have Aquaman. You have, see, this is what I was thinking with this Flash.
Yeah, so
point.
no individual Aquaman movies.
Right.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
because I was thinking about a Flash movie, but
Okay.
this is going after a Flashpoint. I
Sure.
think this is when you introduce the new Barry Allen actor.
Yep.
Okay? I think at the end of Flashpoint movie, you don't show the Flash after the rebirth hits. I think that's when you write Ezra Miller out,
Yep.
and then you maybe show the back of his costume or whatever, and don't
Yep.
introduce an actor. Okay? Leave that up in the air. Establish that, hey, Flash is still around,
Yep.
but it's not Ezra Miller.
Sure.
And then if you want, because I don't think you're going to do the Batman, like him giving Batman the letter
Yep.
of his dad. I don't think Thomas Wayne's involved in this movie at all.
Right.
So, which is the main thing when he comes back anyways. So at that point, I say just after that, maybe have one little like a minute long scene of the new world,
Yep.
or have like a newspaper where it's Henry Cavill's Man of Steel, and then like, I don't know, allude to some things being changed in the timeline. I think that would be the perfect amount. And
Sure.
then just end it.
Sure.
So Justice League, you bring the Flash back, you have Aquaman come in, Wonder Woman, establish that they've never been together before
Yep.
in a team-up movie.
Yep.
Martian Manhunter comes in, Batman, like have the original 7. And then if you want to throw in like a Hawkman or a Green Arrow, that'd be fantastic. But and then I said, so I was up in the air with two villains for Justice League. Okay,
Nice.
One was Vandal Savage, because I think that'd be really cool. He's got that rich history as well. I think
Yep.
it'd be harder for him to fight because he's not really like a godly fighter, you know, in that sense.
Right. He's
more
not
of a
exceptionally powered. It's more of his.
intellect,
He can't be killed.
right? And
He
immortality,
can't be killed.
right?
Yeah, so you can beat the snot out of the dude. You can take him down time and time again. He just keeps popping back up.
And my other idea was actually the Legion of Doom.
Okay.
Because in a lot of these, like, for instance, and I think this would set the Avengers movies apart, or the Justice League apart from the Avengers, because the Avengers movies really focus on one main bad guy.
Correct. Yep.
And then
a
an
single
army.
adversary.
And then
Yep.
an army.
And their horde. Yep.
You go with a Legion of Doom, you have 7 villains of their own power
Yep.
against another team of 7
Right.
with already their own backstories with each other. So you have Black Man and Aquaman, you have Lex Luthor and Superman, you have Batman and whoever you want to establish in that role with Batman, whether you
Yep.
want to do Bane, whether you want to bring Mr. Freeze back. I don't think you bring Joker in for that, but I'd probably say Bane, maybe. I don't
Sure.
know. But you bring Cheetah back if you want to. Martian Manhunter, you can kind of throw in whoever you want for that guy, but you know, you get
Twin
the gist.
brother.
Right. The evil twin brother. Such a comic move. But that would be
No doubt.
that would be my, because I think honestly that would separate them from it. They're like, "Oh, this isn't an Avengers movie. This is
It's a good line of
Actually-
demarcation. Hey, here's
Right.
how it's different.
this is the Legion of Doom."
Yeah. That's
So-
really well thought out. Yeah, I like that
That
Legion of
is
Doom idea
my-
in particular, Riles.
Timeline.
That's great. Okay, so 5 movies.
I did
right?
5 movies, 3
4
shows.
solo movies culminating in the Justice League film,
Right.
and interspersed in there 3 shows.
Right. And then obviously you can introduce your own like side characters that you want to introduce later on. Like I imagine Dick Grayson being in the Batman 2 just because of
Yep.
the Court of Owls wanting him
Yep.
like to be
Yep,
one of their
trying to
main
recruit
dudes.
him as a
Right.
talent.
I think that would be
Yep.
fantastic to have him involved in that.
Yep.
Like I said, you can have Jon Stewart in there and then lead into another one.
Yep.
You can really do anything you want with Hawkman and Hawkgirl. If you
Yeah.
want to introduce some of those minor Justice League characters, like the Elongated Man, for instance, or the Atom, like that
There's
kind
so many,
of person.
Oh my gosh,
right?
there's so many glorious characters out
Red
there.
Tornado,
Just bring him in.
right? Green Arrow and Black Canary. You can use that to bring in like Wildcat. Wildcat would be awesome to see. Okay, just imagine like a Sylvester Stallone comes in as Wildcat. Done deal. I think that would be a cool cast.
I'm sure
I
he'd be
just
down.
Came up with that
I'm sure
on the
he'd be
spot.
down. Again, more royalties for you.
Right.
I love it. I love it.
That's where I'm at.
That's great. That's great. Now, this is a kind of random question. How long would you see this phase 1 playing out? Like, is this a 1, 2, 3 year?
I want them to take their time with it.
Yep.
So at least 3 years.
Okay.
Like, because let's see, 5
Yeah,
movies.
5 movies. It's no joke.
So 2 movies in 1 year, 2
Yep.
movies in year 2, and then Justice League in year 3,
Kind of its own.
and then having the 3 shows spread out between
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Because so movie, show, movie,
Yep.
show,
Yep.
and then just end with the Green Lantern movie going into Justice League or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't. That's what they're not ready to rush it. And to be honest, if you think about it, Marvel hasn't really benefited from squeezing their Phase 4 into a 2-year span,
Right.
from a show span at least.
Yeah, just the absolute massive amount of content, and that's its own topic, isn't it? How different for Marvel Phase 1 was in terms of the space between movies. Obviously, TV shows weren't a thing
Right.
at this stage, but there was so much more time in between movies, and now we're in such a condensed phase of movie show. There's a new one every couple of months.
Right.
And again, that's a topic for another day, but you don't have to go that rapid fire. There is, I think, a lot more value, quite frankly, at seeing 2 different examples of how it's been done by Marvel to, err on the side of taking your time. Maybe you don't necessarily, Marvel's Phase 1 was stretched out from 2008 all the way into 2012, culminating in Avengers. So, 4 or 5 years or so. Probably doesn't necessarily need to be that drawn out, but it doesn't have to be much less than that. It doesn't need to be a 2-year run.
But the build for it
Was
for Phase
fanta-
1
it was
is
fantastic.
beautiful
It
because
is.
you watch Iron Man and then you see Nick Fury at the end and you're like, wait, what? And then Hulk, you see the end where Tony Stark comes in and you're like, no, what are they doing? And then you have this
Right.
slow build where
Right.
you're like, they're going to make an Avengers movie. This is going to be sick. This is unprecedented.
Man, it's true. It's true in cooking.
Right.
It's true in storytelling. Like, the more deliberately, the more that you're willing to take your time, the more deliberately you build, cook, etc. Typically, the tastier the dish is overall. You let that dish soak a bit, it's gonna be quite moist.
Yeah, let it build. And I think, what they're doing with Daredevil, they're throwing him in little bits and pieces. I think the build up
Good
for
example.
Daredevil when that show
Yep.
comes out, I
Yep.
think that one will pay off.
Agreed.
But like,
Having the patience, having the what is the word?
take your time.
Yeah, just the deliberate control. And I think that takes a certain level of confidence to know that, listen, people are going to be there for this content. And really the only thing you're gaining, like you're going to, from a business perspective, you're going to make money. Like you are. It's just a matter of, are you willing to be patient enough to make it a little bit later down the road? But I think you're going to end up making more in the long run than if you're just rolling these off the assembly line
Right.
that much more quickly.
Take your time. Make people think that you spent more time on it than you did.
Quality over quantity.
Right.
No doubt. No doubt.
We're going to appreciate it more.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
So I'd say at least 3 years.
Yeah. And I like the interspersal of like Hawkman and Hawkgirl in particular. That's great. Those are 2 characters that you can approach from a storytelling perspective, and there's no expectations on those characters because nobody knows about them.
And you can spin it however
But
you want it because
yes.
no one cares enough.
No, it's great. It's great. But there's such neat, worthwhile characters that obviously haven't gained the traction over the decades of other more well-known DC characters that nonetheless I think are worth spending a lot of time with. So I think that's really outstanding. I love that. Yeah, that's great. Anything else you want to hit on there?
No, that's it. I
Okay.
nailed it. That's my timeline.
You
I made it
did.
on a paper towel.
Right, written out on a paper towel. Dude,
We didn't have
that's all a
sticky
great
notes.
idea to start. I'm proud of you for what you used. I love the craftsmanship.
You know, I just thought about there was paper in the printer I could have used.
I know, but you chose a paper towel. I still think it was the right move. I mean, the paper towel is going to hold up. Like a piece of paper gets crumpled, it
That's
wears out over
true.
time. Your paper towel can endure. So
I was just like, I literally just thought of that now. I was like, there's paper
hey,
in the printer.
let's say you did it on purpose. It's great.